A New Hampshire Republican voted against an effort to ban child marriage because 16-year-olds are, in his word, too ripe and fertile.
Do you agree with the point of view that if we continually restrict the freedom of marriage as a legitimate social option, when we do this to people who are of ripe fertile age and may have a pregnancy and a baby involved, are we not in fact making abortion a much more desirable alternative when marriage might be the right solution for some freedom-loving couple?
In March, the state Senate unanimously passed a ban setting an age limit of 18 in the state, and on Thursday, it passed the House, 192 to 174. One of those people voting against the ban was who you just heard, Representative Jess Edwards, who apparently is fixated on the fertility of teen girls. Seriously, though, maybe you want to check this man's browser history. I do not know. But you could hear the audible gasps from his colleagues because, again, that's a really messed up thing to say, okay? I mean, 18, in that state, 18 in a lot of states, you're not old enough to drink, but yet this guy and many other old Republican men believe that girls at 16 years of age, they're old enough to get pregnant and get married and start families and all this stuff. What? They're also apparently, not old enough to choose their gender, but hey, you have babies, totally. What? Okay, no, 16-year-olds should not be getting married, should not be starting families. You should be in school, you should be learning, you should be able to be young, because trust me, being an adult is depressing enough, okay? You don't want to start that early. It's bizarre, though, the right-wing fixation with teen girls and their ability to get pregnant. Now, child safety and gun control advocate Shannon Watts tweeted this out, that child marriage is currently legal in 38 states. Only Connecticut, Delaware, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, and Vermont have set a minimum age at 18 and eliminated all the exceptions. 20 states do not require any minimum age for marriage. And guess what? That's because of Republicans. Every time they bring it up, it's usually a Democrat. Sometimes some Republicans will bring it up as well. And other Republicans, namely old men, always block it every single time. Now, New Hampshire had been working on raising the age. In fact, this is the second time they have tried to raise the age. Back in 2018, Chris Sununu had signed a bill to raise the age to 16, right? Before that was into effect, the law had allowed 13-year-old girls and 14-year-old boys to get married with parent and court approval. So I'm happy to see that change, and I'm happy to see very likely that this bill is going to go into effect as well, because 13, 14, and 16-year-olds, they're not ready for marriage. Hell, I have seen 20 and 30-year-olds that are definitely not ready for marriage, if you know what I mean. Now, here's the thing, though. Right-wingers are complaining about couples divorcing. The broken homes, the destruction of the family. Well, I mean, marrying young actually has something to do with that. According to statistics, the younger you marry, the more likely you are to divorce. 48% of couples who marry under the age of 18 are more likely to divorce within 10 years, compared to 25% of those who marry after the age of 25. So the older you get married, the less likely you are to divorce. If you don't like divorce, you should probably prevent teens from getting married. But Republicans hate that, okay? So they would rather just stop people from getting divorced. Speaker Mike Johnson has called for that, the end of no-fault divorce in his home state of Louisiana. And the state-level platforms of the Republican Party branches in Texas and Nebraska have also called for the end of no-fault divorce. So basically, what the Republican plan is to force young teen girls into marriages that they can't leave. First by saddling them with kids by outlawing abortion, and then outlawing divorce. And if you think it would just be teens marrying each other, that's where you're wrong. According to Unchained at Last, a nonprofit advocacy group dedicated to ending child marriage in the United States, only 14% of the child marriages conducted from 2000 to 2010 were between two children marrying each other. In the other 86% of the cases, child marriages were between a minor and an adult. And when it comes to age, the majority of those surveyed, about 60%, reported being 18 to 20. Less than 3% reported being over 29. In 400 cases, the adult was over 40. And in 31 cases, they were over 60. And most often, it is an older male with a young teen girl. So this is why it's even more striking that this guy's out here talking about fertility. Oh, they're ripe and fertile when they're 16. And so that's why this 40-year-old should be able to get married to a 16-year-old. Wow. And by the way, according to Unchained at last study, some 86% of the children who married in the U.S. Between 2000 and 2018 were girls. And most of them were wed to adult men, an average of 4 years older. And there's good evidence that in a lot of cases, this is meant to allow for statutory rape. Between 2000 and 2018, nearly 300,000 minors were legally married in the United States, and some 60,000 of those occurred at an age or spousal difference that should have been considered a sex crime. And about 88% of those marriages, the marriage license became a get-out-of-jail-free card for a would-be statutory rapist under state law that specifically allowed, within marriage, what would otherwise be considered a crime. And in the other 12% of those marriages, the state had sent home a child to be raped. The marriage was legal under state law, but sex within the marriage was a crime. So there you are. That's what this Republican is out there defending. And the context here is even more ridiculous when you bring in the fact that the Republican Party is in the midst of a moral crisis right now. A bit of a moral panic about the existence of LGBTQ people. What do they keep calling them? They keep saying groomer, pedophile, you're after our kids. Whereas this guy and many other Republicans are advocating for children to get married. Now, one state representative, Alessandra Murray, who is a trans non-binary person, well, they had something to say about this. Quote, I'm tired of being called a groomer when Republicans are the ones fantasizing about fertile teenagers and demanding child marriage. 100%. They also added, anyway, they lost. Once Sununu signs SB 359, child marriage will finally be illegal in the state of New Hampshire. That's one down. Many more to go. Many more to go. But hey, I applaud New Hampshire for finally getting it done and ensuring that no child gets victimized through marriage.